complain about it too. I wanted to start off with this. I wanted to start off today's broadcast with this video in particular, because this video is so prescient. It's just a video that you can show forever. Okay? Have you failed No Nut November yet? Yes, I jerked off last night. Don't be crazy, of course. I don't participate in bullshit like that. So, I watched the video last night. But some may say, I watched this video a million times over. We have seen this video, or different versions of this video, over and over again. Now, why have we seen this video over and over again? Well, that's because this perfectly encapsulates the outrage manufacturing news cycle that conservatives run on throughout the entire year. Not just like once every 4 years in the same way that Democrats do, but like they run on all the time. Let's take a look at what's going on here.
What's the most important issue in the governor's race here in Virginia?
Getting back to the basics of teaching children, not teaching them critical race theory.
And what is critical race theory?
Well, I'm not going to get into the specifics of it because I don't understand it that much, but it's something that I don't, what little bit that I know, I don't care for.
And what have you heard that you don't,
well,
that you don't like?
I'm not going to, you know.
15 months,
I don't,
wow, has the time gone?
I don't have that much knowledge on it, but
Okay.
it's something that I don't care for.
What's the most important issue?
He's like, I don't know what it is. It just pisses me off. I don't know what it is, but it pisses me the fuck off. Okay. And that's the thing. Okay. That's the thing though. Like, that news cycle is working. Virginia has a gubernatorial race. It's always in a weird fucking time. It's like not in between the midterms. It's like literally
Good to see you back in the saddle.
nowhere. And this guy, Youngkin, who just like is literally an unknown entity, okay, is actually beating Terry McAuliffe, the incumbent, at this moment. And part of that is because he's running on, you know, anti-CRT.
Love you, Will. Hasan.
And they do this all the time. Republicans do this shit all the fucking time because they find a grievance that literally is created in a think tank by Yale graduates at the Manhattan Institute, okay? And then they pump it out into the wild, and the conservative machine, the conservative media machine that is so good, turns that into the number one thing to get angry at. And it's basically just a rebranding of old school grievances. Like, we don't want to teach kids that racism is bad, but you can't say that. So instead of saying like, we don't want to teach kids that like the actual accurate history of like the black experience in America and how that has like contemporary effects still, you can't say that because people will be like, well, that's fucked up. Like, that's kind of racist. You don't want people, you want people to have a whitewash understanding of like American history. So they say like, yeah, critical race theory. That's right. So Youngkin is, you know, I don't know what the fuck's going to happen, but he's an unknown entity that is now a legitimate contender. And the only reason why he is a legitimate contender is because he's running on the critical race theory ticket, basically.
5 months, only 9 more before I start gaslighting you in chat, less than 3.
Yeah, Rufo, that fucking dipshit. You know? Youngkin is from the Carlisle group. It doesn't matter, though. Like, it's just like...
Happy Twitch baby day.
It literally does not matter. Like, this guy is a Huo Megalol out of fucking nowhere. And he's able to, you know, capture, one, the attention of Virginia, which is like an otherwise purple state that's like basically blue. Northam was the incumbent. Yeah, I know, but it doesn't matter. It's like Virginia itself is a purple state. We all know what happened with Northam. Virginia is a fucking purple state that is like increasingly more blue year over year. I think it's a +10 Joe Biden state. It was +10. And now
Love you, Bubby.
it could potentially get a fucking a Republican governor. And the reason for that is because Republicans don't stop running. Republicans create grievances and use a propaganda tool so effectively. Okay? They're very good at running year round. They never stop running. They never stop trying to win elections. They never stop trying to pump their ideological zealotry that they recognize really active parts of their fucking base has
right.
and pumping that out as like another cultural flashpoint that you should be angry at. And then once they fucking use it, it's like rinse and repeat. Sometimes they'll bring it back, Antifa. But once they're done with it, it's like we move on. No one remembers it. Trans bathrooms. And it's always some bullshit like this. And it's not even hidden. Like critical race theory was openly created by, again, a Manhattan Institute dipshit by the name of Christopher Rufo. And if you don't believe me, he's saying it.
Fog.
The activists are realizing that their ideas, once put into practice, are generating discontent. Their racial coalition is also breaking apart. Asian Americans in particular are revolting against critical race theory, which punishes them more than any other group. We have successfully frozen their brand, critical race theory, into the public conversation, and we are steadily driving up. This is back in March 15th. Driving up negative perceptions. We will eventually turn it toxic as we put all of the various cultural insanities under that brand category. He admitted. He's saying it. He said, fuck it, I'm saying it. We made critical race theory into a thing when it wasn't a thing. And now we're just saying all the bad things. That's all critical race theory.
Okay.
That's what he's saying. He said, fuck it, I'm saying it. America deserved critical race theory. Now, the problem here is that Democrats don't do this.
Love you,
like, they got fucking
big guy
MSNBC,
Hassel.
they got CNN, they have like liberal media institutions that could traffic in the same way that they like advocate for Joe Biden in the fucking primaries as a bottleneck against like, socialist progressive mobilization or activist-backed movements to reappropriate some of the fucking funds given to the police's inflated budgets back to like social workers and shit. Like, they do that all the time. They get together and pump out content that fucking sullies and tarnishes Medicare for all or otherwise like popular provisions, popular programs, social safety nets that would be helpful, but definitely, shave a little bit off the top of the profit margins of these executives and corporations that, fund these media operations. So they energize and they get together and like in unison fucking pump out information where you're like, what the fuck? But they never do that for a Democratic agenda. They don't do this. They don't fucking hyper focus on like issues and run it year round. They don't tag these sorts of issues alongside growing movement within the base. Republicans recognize, they look at their base, they understand where the motivation is coming from, okay? And they pump into it. They lean into it. They literally are like, you don't like vaccines? I've literally gotten every booster shot. I basically am fucking strapped up to a young 14-year-old and like getting blood so I can make sure that like I can still walk around at the age of like 87. But it doesn't matter. I'm going to be an anti-vaxxer now. Okay? Like Governor Greg Abbott literally had like the booster shots. Like he had everything and he's still like, yeah, I'm anti-vaxxer. Fuck that. Why? Because the base demands it. Democrats, on the other hand, see progressive momentum in their base and they squash it or they liberalize it. They overtake it and turn like, Black Lives Matter into can't wait. Another fucking piece of legislation that's not even going to pass, even though it's fucking watered down. And that's the main difference between Democrats and Republicans is that like Democrats see popular mobilization in their base and they're like, how can we tame this? Because ultimately Democrats and Republicans, I'm sorry to fucking say this, but it's the truth, are still operating at the behest of capital owners. Okay. There is a bipartisan consensus that we rarely ever talk about. Oh my God, I fucking forgot to run the ad.
Nay, 3
Holy
months
shit, I'm such a
glad you
dummy.
ain't take no break
I
and
literally
always
forgot. I was like,
hilarious.
I did the whole like intro about running the fucking ad, and I think I forgot to run it. Yeah, Jesus Christ. Okay, Democrats and Republicans have a bipartisan consensus on running the top of the hour ad break that you can avoid if you subscribe with a $5 a month subscription or with a fucking Twitch Prime for free. Use your Twitch Primes here. Okay? Here's the fucking ad break now. God damn it. So, as I was saying, Democrats see their base. Democrats see like Democratic voters and activists on the in the streets. They see people agitated towards a particular cause, and they go, "How can we fucking neuter this so it doesn't become like a real thing?" You know what I mean? Republicans see that, and they're like, "I mean, we need every vote we can get, so I'm gonna fucking lean into this." Right? And that's precisely what is happening here, and that's precisely why Republicans, despite being like an eclectic group of like psychopaths in their, you know, policy items that are broadly unpopular, they still fucking win elections because they do whatever it takes to win. They gerrymander, they take advantage of the electoral college, they fucking launch like, I've talked about this a million times over, but it bears repeating. I talked about this when I was on with Felix as well. Like, you want to understand the brilliance behind Republican operatives in comparison to like Democrats? Go to a QAnon rally. Go to a fucking QAnon rally, okay? A Save the Children QAnon rally, and you will see like a fucking comptroller, you know? Like some random like Asian lady who's a fucking running for city comptroller or some shit, okay, on the Republican ticket.
Jamie's.
And she'll literally be like there at the QAnon rally talking about school choice. It's like, that's how? What? Like, they'll have weirdly specific because it's really specific because I'm talking about like a very specific thing that I have literally seen with my own two eyes. That's why. From California. I forget her name. But like, this is something that happens regularly. Okay? This is something that happens all around the country. So they're very good at like grabbing on to QAnon mobilization that's happening, like an actual grassroots or popular mobilization that's happening, lean into it, pump it full of funds, and then basically add Republican agenda items so that like these fucking hogs that are like, yeah, we need to save the goddamn children, are doing word association about fucking like QAnon hogs are doing word association and having like a positive opinion on school choice. Like, what the fuck is school choice to you? You want to fucking privatize the public school system? Like, why? Because it's communism. So Republicans do everything they can to win, okay? Democrats don't. They only run every 4 years, and when they're running every fucking 4 years, they look towards like activists and actual like populist movements within their base, and they go, let's commoditize this, let's commodify this, and let's make sure that like, you know, this doesn't get too out of hand. So that's why Democrats always lose, and as Matt Christman so aptly put on the latest Chapo episode, the Democratic Party strategy basically is to let Republicans win, and then because they're so fucking gross, the Republicans that do end up winning, they're so fucking gross that their base is motivated to go out and vote again for the goddamn Democrats, to only not do anything when they're in power, and then to have them, but they can still fucking make money, you know, and then to allow Republicans to win again so they get their agenda done a little bit, only to again gross out every single fucking voter in the country so that they get mobilized again, so they will fucking vote for like a shitty, coward, feckless Democratic administration that's not actually interested even remotely in even dialing back Some of the things that the Republicans did that the Democratic Party has the power to dial back, they won't do it. Title 42 is a great example of this that I've talked about a million times over. Title 42 is a CDC provision that the Trump administration used to deny asylum seekers their legal fucking opportunity to seek asylum. They said, hey, COVID's a big problem, even though they were literally denying it, but they were using the CDC and its awesome powers to deny people their legal right to seek asylum in the United States of America. Joe Biden didn't overturn that. As a matter of fact, he had his own attorneys defend it so he could keep doing Title 42 and keep fucking, making sure that people can't seek asylum in this country.
Hasboggers.
Be careful insulting moms. Many passed. Don't take for granted yours being alive, let alone insult other people. Little emotional intelligence on display. Shut the fuck up. Your mom appreciates when I have sex with her, so maybe you should appreciate her more. Anyway. So yeah. Let's take a look at what's going on in Virginia real quick.
Greatly concerned me.
I think there was a lot of learning loss over the past year and a half. We all saw with the kids at home and a lot of these options that you can get through the class with just a pass or a fail, and some of the measures that have sort of watered down the standards in not just in Virginia, many places. But Mara and Brooke, thank you very much. It's
Can I
great
say one thing though about I don't think people necessarily truly understand what critical race theory is. Younger children are not being taught critical race theory. They can't understand critical race theory. They're being taught history. So when somebody here in Loudoun County, I understand, was upset that his second grade child was taught that Christopher Columbus killed many indigenous people, that's part of history. That is what Christopher Columbus did. So I have a hard time. I think kids have to learn history, the good, the bad, the ugly, so they can become critical.
I don't think anybody's against that. I think we have to do a fact check on the Christopher Columbus story as well. But
you're gonna do a fact check on whether Christopher Columbus murdered indigenous people?
The days of choreographing his funeral to the
what the fuck?
Song.
How are you gonna fact check? We're gonna do a fact check on whether slavery happened. Like, what the fuck, bro? He was so brutal. Even motherfuckers back home were like, "Dog, you gotta stop." Okay, what the fuck are you doing? Stop cutting their fucking ears and hands and shit, you psycho. Not to say that like those colonial powers were like kind or anything. They were fucking horrifying monsters too. But Christopher Columbus was so extra that they were like, dude, what the fuck? What are you doing? Stop. Okay, there, just enslave them, motherfucker. That's how we do it. Just enslave them. What the fuck are you doing? What's wrong with you?
6 months Pepo has.
He literally was like, "No, I'm gonna cut their hands off." There was like, "Stop cutting their hands off and making them wear as necklaces." He's like, "No, I'm gonna fucking keep doing that." Yeah, we're gonna run a fact check on whether Christopher Columbus engaged in indigenous genocide.
Would let Villeneuve punch my pouch.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. They were probably like, "Don't cut the hands off, dumbass. We can't get them to fucking, work in the mines or some shit if they don't have a fucking hand." That was like their motivation for being like, dude, you are so insane that you're literally ruining the fucking labor, the free labor force that we have here. What the fuck's wrong with you? Yeah, he's like, stop cutting their limbs off. They can't fucking work if they're limbless. Like, I mean, this is in no fucking way any different than like being like, we need a fact check on the Holocaust. Like, it's nuts. What an insane thing to fucking say. I can't believe this dumbass said this. We need a fact check on the Holocaust. Jesus Christ.
I don't think anybody's against that. I think we have to do a fact check on the Christopher Columbus story as well. But, you know, critical race theory, I think sometimes is a little bit of a misnomer because what's happening is that there's a sort of a reformed thinking and approach to history that teaches that the country was founded in racism. You can say critical race theory is like a legal theory that is found more in colleges. So maybe giving it that label has thrown some people off. But it doesn't mean that there's not things being taught that are teaching kids that they're sort of inherently.
Dude, by the way, another thing that's really funny is like white identitarian politics, which is something that like anti-SJWs do regularly, which is like they fucking literally build an audience fucking talking about how much like black people are crying for no reason, blah, 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 blah. And then like these fucking neckbeards turn around and do the exact same thing where it's like white men are being murdered on the internet whenever someone says white men are doo-doo or they're trash. A white man kills himself immediately. Like, are there real fucking problems impacting men in general? Absolutely. White men as well. Okay. But like, they're doing the exact same shit from a place where there's like not as much significant like material reasoning. And most of those men, if not all of those men, are not harmed as a consequence of like being white, but they're harmed because they're fucking workers in a country where our primary function is just consumption and working in some fucking bullshit desk jockey job that literally does not need to exist, okay? Just a shit job that does not need to exist. Or if you're actually doing fucking like labor, it's oftentimes just working as a waiter serving the fucking small business owner tyrants that spit on your fucking face all goddamn day. The future looks bleak, okay, for everyone. But of course, no one needs to do materialist analysis. We need to fucking completely move away from that and focus on like individual identities and why they feel terrible and sad. Especially when we talk about white men. It's like, dude,
your streaming time.
They're not like white men are not being fucking attacked for being white. They're being attacked because they're a gigantic part of the fucking labor force in a country that does not have like any sort of industrialized production anymore. Okay, that's it. That's why they just feel like they've been left behind. Jesus Christ, so many fucking donos. Thank you here, Lai Steven, for the 5 gifted subs. Thank you to Black Corvo for the 10 gifted subs. And thank you, One Love Sombra, for the 10 gifted subs. It makes me so fucking mad whenever people are just like, oh, they can't admit that they're problematic. Well, man, shut up. Like, yeah, all white men are problematic. Like, if we're going to have a fucking real conversation for a second, like that is a dumb take. If you fucking cry about that, though, as a white guy, if you're crying about that, you are so fucking profoundly privileged that you're a little bitch, okay? Suck it the fuck up, white men who cry constantly about, like, dumb fucking rad libs being like, white men are trash. Bleh. Like, okay, dude. All right. So what? That person just said that. Did that really fuck your day up? Is that what happened? You have a boo-boo? In a way, this is no fucking different than the same shit that these anti-SJW essayists were fucking crying about. But at least when it comes to like black issues, there's a fucking real material reason behind it. Okay? There's like an actual reason why black people are fucking upset, because there are so many serious fucking racial wounds that have not healed. Anyway. But like this CRT conversation is so fucking dumb. It's like people literally just do not want kids, black and white, to not learn the accurate history, and like their criticisms of the CRT revolve around my white kid thinks he's a villain now. Like, shut the fuck up, you dumb bitch, you stupid fuck. What the fuck is wrong with you? Oh no, my kid, his feelings are hurt. It's like, dude, first of all, you're a villain, okay? You're a villain, but not because of like what your ancestors did. You're a fucking villain because you literally just choose to deny it and don't want to offer restitution. You're not a villain because you're automatically white, therefore a villain. You're a villain for being like, I literally not only want to hear what is going on, I don't want it to be educated. I don't want that to be fucking I don't want that to be like the common core education, the real accurate reading of history. And on top of that, like, I will do everything in my power to fucking cry about it. That's why you're a goddamn villain, dude. If you're actively denying, like, racial subjugation, you're a fucking piece of shit. You're a bad person. Sorry. This is why Republicans will keep winning. Yeah, they'll only keep winning because they're very good at whipping up enough active dumbasses into a frenzy in their incredibly powerful manufactured outrage machine called fucking Fox News, all the way down to like the alternative media sources that they also dominate, like fucking YouTube and shit. They're able to create a conversation around something that has not changed. Okay? It's just so stupid. It's just so dumb. But the real reason why they win on top of that is not necessarily because like they're very good and this is like a really important issue that every American should be outraged by. Like, shut up, bitch. You really think it's bad? Like, you're in the wrong place if you think that like CRT is a bad thing, okay? Or whatever they consider to be CRT is a bad thing, because like that's what I do as well. I teach you the accurate history of the United States of America, like a colonizing force that enslaved millions of people, raped, pillaged, burned to the ground, extracted natural resources from the third world and kept it down. That's like, you know, that's just the truth. And you hear it here all the fucking time. And the saddest thing is whenever there's like black kids in my audience, they're like, I didn't even fucking hear about this. Like, there are black people in my fucking audience that don't know about like the move bombing, for example, in 1985 in Pennsylvania, or Oklahoma, like the Tulsa massacre. Okay, and that's because they also are educated in the American public school system that teaches an otherwise whitewashed and usually white supremacist fucking history of the United States. That's why. What was the first one you said? The move bombing, where an entire city block was fucking blown up by the Philadelphia Police Department near Drexel. They threw fucking C4 in a bag out of a helicopter and they let it burn to the ground. Anyway. So yeah, like that's the reason, like, we already have CRT, okay? We have critical racism theory being taught in schools. So if you go against that, and if you're like, we gotta fucking like do an accurate assessment of what we're teaching our children, like, why the fuck do we care about the slaver's perspective in the South in the war of northern aggression, i.e. the Civil War? Like, what the fuck is this bullshit? Like, why are black kids in the South learning that why are black kids in the South learning the unfortunate perspective of the slave owners? You know what I mean? Like, that's fucking nuts, dude. Like, that's what you're learning. If you're a black kid growing up in the fucking South, in a southern state, okay, go to public school, and they're literally fucking teaching you like that this was really unfortunate for the slave owners because their capital was attacked. Like, just tweak that a little bit, please. Just, you know, show that accurately as what that is. It's the abolition of slavery, dude. It's freeing slaves, okay? That wasn't like a property rights fight. At least in 2021, we have the advantage of hindsight to know that that wasn't just a property fucking fight, a property battle. Jesus Christ. As a black kid growing up in the American South, I always found it weird that we learned one about the good things of African Americans in 1 month of the year, but spent forever learning about slavery and the founding fathers. And not even like accurately learning about slavery. Anyway, yes, slave owners did receive reparations, but the slaves did not. So that's another thing. But anyway, I went to like a million different fucking places with this conversation.
Victims,
but it's
or
very
oppressors.
frustrating.
I think we'll have
has thrown some people off, but it doesn't mean that there's not things being taught that are teaching kids that they're sort of inherently, victims or oppressors.
I think we'll have to agree to disagree on that because
like inherently victims or oppressors. So what are you fucking teaching when you talk about, I don't know, antebellum South, like a fucking the plantation owner's daughter and her personal experiences having to like run away to Texas and leave some of those slaves behind? Oh no. Like what are you teaching then? What the fuck are you teaching the kids then in that situation? It's such a, if you want to fucking literally just like rob everything of its context and look at it like a fucking idiot and be like, there's like victims and then there's oppressors. Throughout history, that's a constant, motherfucker. You have oppressors and you have the oppressed. That's just a constant. Just like violence is a constant throughout history and throughout politics, okay? There's always an oppressive class, and then there's always going to be those who are oppressed, okay? Welcome to dialectics. This is how it works. This is just simply how it works. So if you are saying teaching history accurately, okay, well, focusing on the master's point of view rather than the slave's point of view, then you're saying that, like, that's your take. That's you are siding with the masters rather than the fucking slaves. That's where your morality lies. And anything that goes against that, anything that like accurately assesses the wrong things that the American government has done, that we are fucking so far removed from. Like you're not. I'm not saying like you personally are responsible for slavery. This is a fucking insane thing to make. It's an insane statement to make. But you're siding with the fucking slave owners in that situation.
I have different thoughts and feelings.
Okay,
on that.
I got to leave it there. Thank you so much, though. And this is exactly the debate that has been.
So CRT is not new. It's not a real thing. It's like a couple different schools were like, Robin DiAngelo, we're going to fucking have his perspective added onto our curriculum, or the fucking 1619 project or whatever the fuck. And everyone was like, whoa, what the fuck? This is CRT. Thank you, Coffee Dave, for the 5 get the subs. This is CRT, brother. We need to stop it. And these horny fucking housewives that are so fucking bored otherwise, just, Robin DiAngelo's Lady Law. Sorry. I was thinking of, what's his name? Ibram Kendi. I misgender people all the time. Shut the fuck up. Anyway. So. Wild. Fox News. We need a fact check. Sorry, I was tweeting. Okay. You hear about the weird sex therapy banned in 49 states docu on Netflix? No, I don't know what the fuck that is. Full details on the cinema, on the Kirsten Cinema pharmaceutical pricing. Deets of the drug pricing deal per Rep Scott Peters, who worked with Cinema